Have you ever felt invisible, as if nothing you did were enough? That feeling that no matter how hard you try, the people around you simply do not recognize your value. It can be at work, where your ideas are ignored, in college, where your effort seems to go unnoticed, or even in friendships, where you are always there for others, but no one seems to be there for you. Lack of appreciation is a universal and deeply painful experience. It can undermine our self-esteem, leaving us frustrated, insecure, and often attached to a cycle of emotional dependence. But what if I tell you that there is a way to change that? A way of not only recovering your self-esteem, but also making those who don't value you realize your true value. Best of all without needing stressful confrontations or emotional games. The answer lies in an ancient but incredibly practical philosophy, Stoicism. Stoicism is not just a philosophical theory, it is a guide to life. He teaches us how to focus on what we can control, to deal with adversity in a balanced way, and to build a solid emotional base. And that is exactly what you will learn today. In this video, I will present you 9 powerful actions based on Stoicism that will help you transform your emotional life and your relationships, whether at work, family, school, or any other context. At the end of this video, you will have practical tools for recover your self-esteem, generate a change in behavior in those who do not value you, dealing with emotionally challenging situations in a more balanced way. If you are ready to get out of the fragility position and take control of your emotional life, keep watching. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Shall we start? Before we dive into 9 practical actions, it is important to understand what Stoicism is and why it is so effective in dealing with devaluation situations. Stoicism is a philosophy that has emerged in ancient Greece, but its lessons are incredibly relevant to this day. He was developed by thinkers such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marco Aurelio, who sought to teach people to live a full life, even in the face of adversities. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that not everything is under our control, and this is liberating. Think about it. You can't control how people act, what they think, or how they treat you, but you can control how it reacts to it. This is the essence of Stoicism. Focus on what is within your reach and accept what is beyond your control. For example, imagine that you are in a work environment where your ideas are constantly ignored. You cannot control your colleague's reaction, but you can control how you deal with this situation. Instead of wearing out trying to change the behavior of others, Stoicism teaches you how to strengthen your own posture, to communicate in an assertive way, and to keep calm even in the face of indifference. Stoicism also teaches us to practice emotional detachment. This does not mean being cold or indifferent, but does not allow the actions of others to define their value or their emotional state. When you understand that what others think or do does not reflect who you really are, you get a powerful emotional freedom. And that's exactly why Stoicism is so effective in dealing with devaluation. It gives us tools to transform our perspective and take control of our emotional life, regardless of the context in which we are. Now that you understand the basics of Stoicism, let's dive into the 9 practical actions that will help you apply this philosophy in your daily life. These actions are simple but powerful and can be used in any situation where you feel devalued. Let's go. Action 1. Practice emotional detachment. This does not mean becoming cold or indifferent, but learning not to let the actions and opinions of others control their emotions. In Stoicism, emotional detachment is a way of protecting your inner peace. Imagine that you are in a group of friends and make a joke that no one finds funny. Instead of feeling rejected or embarrassed, emotional detachment allows you to understand that the reaction of others does not define their value. You can laugh at the situation, learn from it, or just move on without taking it to the personal side. By practicing emotional detachment, you reduce anxiety and increase self-control, becoming less vulnerable to the opinions of others. And action. Establish clear limits. Often devaluation happens because we allow people to exceed our limits without consequences. Stoicism teaches us to be assertive and to communicate what is acceptable and what is not. For example, if a co-worker constantly overwhelms you with tasks that are not yours, instead of being silent and accumulating frustration, you can say something like, "I understand that you need help, but I also have my responsibilities. We will find a way of dividing these tasks fairly." By setting limits, you show that you value your time and your needs, and this naturally generates respect. Establishing clear limits avoids emotional abuse and strengthens your self-confidence, showing others that you know how to value yourself. Third action. Focus on what you can control. One of the central principles of Stoicism is the idea that many things in life are beyond our control, but we always have power over our own actions and reactions. Imagine that you are in a group project in college and a colleague is not collaborating as it should. Instead of spending energy trying to change his behavior, focus on what you can do. Deliver your part of the work with excellence, communicate clearly with the teacher, or even seek support from other colleagues. By directing your energy to what is within your reach, you reduce frustration and increase your personal sense of power. Focusing on what you can control brings clarity, reduces stress, and increases your efficiency in any situation. Action. Cultivate positive indifference. This means that it is not excessively affected by criticism, empty compliments, or opinions of others. In Stoicism, positive indifference is not about ignoring everything, but about choosing what deserves your emotional attention. For example, if someone at work makes a negative comment about their performance, instead of taking to the personal side, you can reflect, does this criticism have a foundation? If so, how can I improve? If not, why should I care? This approach allows you to maintain emotional balance without being shaken by opinions that do not add. Positive indifference increases your self-confidence and emotional independence, allowing you to live lighter and more focused on what really matters. Action. Invest in self. Knowledge. Stoicism teaches us that in order to deal with external situations, we must first understand ourselves. When you know yourself deeply, it is easier to identify toxic patterns and work your self-esteem. For example, if you realize that you always feel devalued in groups of friends, reflect, why does this happen? Am I putting myself in situations where my value is not recognized, or am I seeking validation in the wrong place? This kind of reflection helps you make more aligned decisions with who you really are. Self-knowledge strengthens your emotional base, making you more resilient and less dependent on the validation of others. Action. Practice gratitude and acceptance. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot change and find value in what we already have. Instead of focusing on what is missing or not working, gratitude helps us see what we have already achieved and what brings us happiness. For example, if you are in a work environment where you feel devalued, instead of focusing only on it, try to identify positive aspects. Nevertheless, I have learned a lot here, or at least I have colleagues who support me. This change of perspective can bring more peace and motivation to move on. Gratitude and acceptance increase resilience and inner peace, helping you better deal with challenging situations. Action. Be consistent in your actions in Stoicism. Consistency is fundamental to build credibility and respect. When you keep your decisions and limits over time, the people around you begin to understand that you are firm in your values and do not give up what is important to you. For example, If you have decided that you will no longer accept extra tasks at work outside your time, be consistent with that. Do not give just because someone has insisted or because they are afraid of seeming adamant. By maintaining your posture, you show that you respect yourself, and consequently, others will also respect you. Consistency generates credibility and respect, strengthening its position in any context. In right action, use assertive communication. Stoicism teaches us to express our feelings and needs clearly and directly, without aggressiveness or passivity. Assertive communication is essential to avoid misunderstandings and build healthy relationships. For example, if a friend constantly cancels plans at the last minute, instead of storing resentment or exploding with anger, you can say, "I understand that unforeseen events happen, but I feel devalued when our plans are frequently cancelled." We can combine something that works better for both. This approach shows that you value the relationship but also respect yourself. Assertive communication improves the quality of relationships, avoiding unnecessary conflicts and strengthening mutual trust. Ninth action. Realize your priorities. Stoicism teaches us how to focus on what really matters and direct our energy to people and situations that value us. We often feel undervalued because we are investing time and effort in places or relationships that do not bring us emotional return. For example, if you realize that you are always striving to please a group of friends who never return, maybe it's time to rethink if this relationship is worth it. Instead, focus on people who support you and do you good. Benefit. Reassessing your priorities increases your personal satisfaction and reduces emotional wear and tear, allowing you to live more aligned with your values. We have reached the end of this video, but this is where the transformation really begins. Let us quickly recap the 9 powerful actions of Stoicism that can help you deal with devaluation in any context. Practice emotional detachment so as not to let others control their emotions. 2. Set clear limits to show that you value your time and your needs. Focus on what you can control to reduce frustration and increase your efficiency. Cultivate positive indifference, not to be affected by empty criticism or compliments. 5. Invest in self-knowledge to strengthen your emotional base and identify toxic patterns. Practice gratitude and acceptance to find value in what you already have and better deal with challenges. Be consistent in your actions to build credibility and respect. 8. Use assertive communication to express your needs clearly and directly. Reevaluate your priorities to focus on people and situations that really value you. By applying these actions, you not only recover your self-esteem, but it also creates a change in behavior in the people around you. Stoicism teaches you to assume control of your emotional life without depending on the validation of others. Now it's with you. Choose 1 or 2 actions to start today and note how your life can change. Remember, the transformation begins with small steps, but each one takes you closer to a more balanced and satisfactory life. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss any news. Until the next video, where we will continue to explore powerful tools to transform your life. A big hug, and remember, you have the power to change your story.